Dad passed away last night. Dad passed away last night. I'm sure if you'd been able to get back in time, we'd have been able to patch up a few differences. 20 years is a long time. You've probably changed. We've all changed, I guess. I'm sure that Dad would want me to tell you he's forgiven you for what happened 20 years ago. And that he wished he'd been more understanding when you needed him.
Look, Mr. Reynolds, I know you need those prisoners working here, but...
Well, go on.
They've been stealing from you ever since they arrived.
Oh, that's impossible.
I found out the time and the place for the next drop, I think they'd call it, if you want proof. Morning.
Did you get that message to the kids last night?
Of course. Well, go on. Get on with it. I'll keep Miss Bennett busy. Good morning, Miss Bennett. Everything under control?
Yes, thank you, Miss White.
You know, I have to admit something. Mr. Reynolds is very pleased with the way this scheme is panning out.
He should be. This lot working for $40 a week must cut down his wages bill.
Oh, well, I mean, surely it gives the women a chance to prove they're not no-hopers.
This charade proves nothing, Miss White. None of these women will ever make anything of themselves.
A few hours out of prison each day, learning new skills. Some of them will take advantage of it when they're finally released.
They'll take advantage, all right. Won't be long before one of them does something. And that'll be the end of Mr. Reynolds' precious little scheme.
Oh, but don't you think you're being a bit unfair? I mean, look at these production figures. Well, they're much higher here than anywhere else in the factory. That has to be a point in their favor.
The production figures don't interest me in the slightest. But you're forgetting one thing. They're criminals. They'll revert to type sooner or later.
Really, Miss Bennett, don't you think...
What are you doing in here?
Well, it's my turn to make the tea, Miss Bennett.
You'll make tea at the proper time, not when you feel like it. Now get back to work.
Sorry, Miss Bennett.
All right, Sonny, drop it.
Back off! Oh, damn it, you pig!
Burke's happy. Not anymore, she's not. Wonder what's up.
Miss Bennett, I'm afraid there's been a rather serious breach of security.
What happened?
One of the women has been smuggling material out of the factory through that window.
Who was it?
Nolene Burke. I just caught a member of her family trying to get away with the goods.
It was just a matter of time. Well, Mr. Reynolds, that's the end of the work scheme.
No, just a moment. I'd be quite happy to forget the incident if you tighten up security.
What makes you happy, Mr. Reynolds, is beside the point. Miss Meadows? All right, pack up.
What?
You're going back to Wentworth, where you belong.
Why?
Because someone seems to forget that stealing is a criminal offense.
Bad luck.
What happened?
I wish I knew. But somehow Reynolds got wind of it and sprang her kid brother.
You look as if you haven't slept a wink.
I haven't.
You're still thinking about your dad?
Yeah.
No. The only reason you escaped was to see your father. What are you going to do now?
Well, it wasn't the only reason, you know. Anyway, I've gone this far. I might as well do something more about it.
So you're going ahead with the plan?
Yeah. I'll be leaving the country as soon as I can get my own passport. $100 more should see me.
And that means pulling another job.
Doesn't grow on trees, does it?
It's too risky, Judy. I'll give you the money.
No, Pauline. You've already given me enough. I can't let you do this.
And I can't hack it. Thinking of you getting caught.
Thanks, love. Pauline, I'll pay you back, you know. Every last cent.
No, lovey, it's a gift. Okay?
You know, you're a really terrific person, Pauline. I'll never forget this.
When do you get your passport?
Well, as soon as I give them the money, I guess. Now.
Have you seen Paul Reed, Mrs. Jackson?
No, I haven't.
Well, apparently he hasn't arrived. And since you two seem to share a number of secrets, I thought you might know why.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't. Although I do know he's still having some trouble with his son.
I see. The women are returning early from the factory. Help Officer Meadows with the search, would you?
Of course, but is there
And
anything...
tell Miss Bennett to come to my office as soon as she arrives.
Good day.
Good day, lady. Nice day for it?
Terrific. Here's your money. It's all there.
Yeah.
Well, when will the passport be ready?
Afraid it'll take time, lady. I'm a professional, see? I take pride in me work. Some of these bludgers who get onto the lurk nowadays, they don't know B from bull's foot. For me, I'm an artist.
Well, that's just great. Now, when will it be ready?
Urgent, is it?
Yes.
Thought it might be. Between you and me, I heard all about you on the wireless last night.
So?
Oh, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. Not when they catch you. You get curry for jobbing that cop.
Well, they won't catch me, will they, unless you hold me up?
Oh, wouldn't want to do that, will we, lady? Not with you on the run. But I'm afraid you'll have to pay for a rush job.
What are you talking about? I've already paid you.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot, lady. If they cop onto me, I'll be in the nick myself.
Well, that'll be your problem, won't it? Now, listen, why are you jacking up on me now?
Oh, I didn't know you was on the run, did I? I'm afraid the price is now 1,000.
That's double. Where am I going to find that kind of money from?
That's your problem. But that's the price. And you'll have it first thing in the morning.
You wanted to see me?
Yes. Mr. Reynolds phoned about the incident this morning. Would you tell me what you know about it?
Well, there's very little to tell. Mr. Reynolds informed me that Burke was trying to smuggle cloth out of the factory, so I ordered the women out.
Did Mr. Reynolds also inform you that he was prepared to overlook the incident if security were tightened?
Yes, but it's not up to him, is it?
No, it is not. Nor is it up to you, Miss Bennett. I am the governor, and you should have awaited my instructions.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Davidson. I may have been a little hasty,
You
but...
grossly exceeded your authority in withdrawing the women.
It makes little difference in the end, does it? In my opinion, the factory project was doomed from the start. It was just a matter of time before one of the women acted up.
I am well aware of your opinion of the factory project, and you seized upon the first opportunity to make sure that it was doomed.
It was Nolene Burke who made sure of that.
Send her in. I'll see her now.
Certainly, Mrs. Davidson.
Oh, I don't want to be all don't crack up. I've got bells ringing in my head.
So what's new?
It's better than being at the factory, though.
Well, you might be better off not being mauled by that Vince creature, but I put up with an awful lot to get out of this joint.
Oh, come on, B. You'll get out of the factory sooner or later. What are you lot doing here?
Our mate Burke pulled a swifty and got sprung.
What?
What did you do?
Don't know exactly, but Vera said it was stealing.
You don't know that for sure.
It's a dead cert after what that Kay White said. And also, she got locked in a cell the minute we got back.
Oh, she's in her cell, is she? Hold your horses. Don't you see? Burke's out of it. Now it's your chance to go.
She come down last shower, bird brain. After Burke's little stunt, none of us will be going to the factory. She's blown it for everyone.
Well, when I find Burke, she's going to wish she was dead.
I would like an explanation, Burke. Mr. Reynolds believes you are stealing from the factory.
How could I? We get searched, don't we?
Don't waste my time. The material was being smuggled out of the tea room window.
I don't know nothing about it.
I am not here to play games with you. Miss White learned of your plan and reported it to Mr. Reynolds.
That bitch, she set me up.
Oh, so you do know something about it.
I might. Depends what it's worth.
You could not be in a worse position than you are at the moment. Your only hope is to tell the truth.
Okay. But you just remember who gave you the good oil.
I'll keep that in mind.
Kay White was pinching the stuff, not me.
Go on.
Well, she needed someone to help her and she asked me. All I had to do was stick the stuff out the window and she was going to have it picked up later.
And what did you get out of it?
Nothing. She said she'd dob me into the boss if I didn't help her. She was going to say it was me pinching the stuff, not her.
How interesting. And I suppose she then blackmailed members of your family to take it from the factory.
I don't know who was going to pick it up. I'm telling the truth, honest. She was...
I do not believe you. Miss White is a respected employee of the factory.
Oh, yeah, and I'm just a crim.
If Mr. Reynolds sees fit to report this to the police, you will be charged with attempted theft. In the meantime, you will be held in solitary confinement.
You lousy...
That's enough, Burke.
Thank you, Miss Bennett.
Hi, Jude, it's me.
Did you get your passport?
No. Bastard weaseled up the price on me.
How much?
Double.
Oh. Judy, I wish I could let you have some more money, but I can't. I'd have to take it out of the bank and well, Pete'll ask questions.
Sweetheart, you've already done more than enough, thanks.
So it's back to square one?
Yep.
What do you do now?
Pull another job?
Another pro?
No. The Fan Tan Club.
Hell, what's that? A strip joint?
It's illegal gambling.
Judy, you be very careful. The cops will get you for sure.
No, they won't. You see, I said it was illegal. Now, that means that all I have to do is put on my policewoman's uniform, get out my Irish accent, and go and get the money that they give to the cops to keep them quiet, understand?
Well, I don't like the sound of it.
No, I don't think the Irish do either. Anyway, it's safer than robbing a bank, isn't it?
When will you do it?
Well, it'll have to be tomorrow because they're all closed today. Don't tell me. My stars have said that tomorrow is a very bad day for robbing Fantan clubs, right?
Lovey Peter's due back tomorrow, or the day after.
Well, I'll be gone by then.
Yeah, but what if you're not? Oh, Judy, I won't kick you out, but Pete'll ask questions.
Well, honey, he's been overseas. He's not likely to have heard about it over there.
Yes, I know, but I never told him about us.
Well, I'm not likely to tell him. He's not likely to find out for himself, is he?
No, suppose not.
Oh, Pauline. I'm really giving you a hard time, aren't I? I mean, here you are, you've got yourself really nicely organized, and I come in and bugger up your life. Not only am I your ex-lover, I'm a fugitive as well.
Yeah, well, what are friends for?
You be off duty?
I thought I'd better get this report out of the way.
What report?
The one for the department about this morning's incident at the factory.
Well, that may not be necessary.
Since the project's going to be cancelled, the department will want to know why.
You seem to have spent the entire day jumping to conclusions. It may not be cancelled.
But surely it should be.
Mr. Reynolds is coming here tomorrow to discuss the matter.
You mean to tell me that the women are going to be allowed to go back to work in spite of what's happened?
As I said, the matter will be discussed tomorrow.
What's going to happen to Burke?
That hasn't been decided. The staff will be notified as soon as instructions come through.
And when's that likely to be?
I've no idea. Good night.
Well, Burke's in solitary, that's one thing we know for certain.
Yeah, but for how long?
I don't know. I asked to serve a dinner, but they got Gladys to do it instead, so I couldn't find out.
Right, lights out in 10 minutes, ladies.
Oh, Mrs. Jackson, we was just talking about our old mate, Noel.
Yeah, we was wondering, Mrs. J, how long's she going to be in the pound for?
I wouldn't have thought you'd be interested. I mean, Burke's no friend of yours.
Oh, we don't bear any grudges, especially with old Noel being in the pound. How long's she in for? 24 hours? 2 days? A week? Gosh, she must have done something real bad to be in there all that time.
I can read you like a book, Lizzie. Now, how long Burke's in solitary is none of your business. Good night.
No, it is our business if she gets this work project cancelled.
Yeah, but you can't do anything. It looks as though she's going to be in there for at least a week.
Oh, what's a week in here? They'll have to let her out sometime. And when they do, I'll be waiting for her. So all we have to do is get Burke alone for 5 minutes, and she'll be history.
Oh, I'd pull her nails out real slow, like they done in the Spanish Inquiry.
Don't go getting any ideas. This is my show. And I'm going to see that Burke gets done properly.
You still haven't said how.
Remember Yatesy? Got herself locked in one of the dryers. Never found her until it was too late. Funny how you remember things. Well, I think Burke's going to have an accident too. Not as bad as Yates is, of course, but then she doesn't have to know that, does she?
She's gone.
What do you want about?
Burke! I was taking the trolley with the meals around her solitary and she wasn't there.
Come on, stop gossiping, Lizzie, and get back to work.
I was just telling B
She was
that
just
I
telling me
went
that Burke had disappeared and we were worried about what happened to her.
Smoko's over. Back to work, everyone.
Ooh, Jackson's getting cagey in her old age.
Well, maybe she got wind of what you were going to do, B, and they've moved her to another wing.
Well, then we'll just have to find out which wing, won't we?
How?
Lizzie, you've got to take the trolley back to the kitchens later. Someone there will know if she's been transferred to another wing. Keep your ear to the ground.
Will do.
Burke's going to get it no matter where she is.
Mr. Reynolds to see you, Mrs. Davidson.
Good morning. Good morning, Mrs. Davidson.
Do sit down. Would you fetch Miss Bennett, please?
Good to see you again, Erica.
Not under ideal circumstances, unfortunately.
No, it's a pity Burke decided to play up.
Do you intend to lay charges against her?
Well, I don't want to. Nor do I want to see her back at the factory again.
There's no danger of that. She was transferred to a country prison late last night.
What, as a punishment?
Well, not exactly. Burke has always been a troublemaker for both the staff and prisoners. If she'd stayed, the women would have exacted their own punishment on her for jeopardizing the work release.
Ah, so she was sent away for her own protection. Well, in that case, I've no objection to the scheme continuing.
You wanted to see me?
And Mr. Fletcher, Mr. Reynolds is here to discuss the future of the factory project.
The future?
Well, there's no point in cancelling it. It would mean the women were suffering for Burke's sins.
You're asking for trouble.
Well, I think it's worth the risk.
It may be worth the risk to you, Mr. Reynolds, but it's the officers who have to answer to the department if something happens.
Well, Miss Bennett has a point. But with the added security...
You're placing an extra burden on the staff, Mrs. Davidson.
Not really. It just means the officers will be working outside the prison. They'll be doing the same amount of work inside.
So the project's going to continue?
Yes, I think so.
Will that be all, Mrs. Davidson?
Yes, thank you. You may return to your duties.
I don't know why she wanted us in on that conversation in the first place. She made up her mind before we even got there.
The only reason she wants that project to go ahead is Mr. Andrew Reynolds.
What are you driving at?
Well, they're having a relationship.
Oh, come on, Vera.
Don't believe me if you don't want to, but it's true. Remember I told you she got flowers the other day? Well,
Yeah, well, that doesn't prove a thing. And even if she is, that's her business, and I don't really want to know about it. I just wish she'd change her mind about the women going back to work, especially after what happened.
Don't worry. Once the department hears about Burke's stunt, they'll scrap the whole project.
Well, she's hardly likely to make out a report, is she? Not if she wants it to go ahead.
Well, I know she won't. But I will. Here's my report.
What, do you think it'll do any good?
With this, all our problems will be over.
Well, that's finalised. I'll put another prisoner in Burke's place and the women can be back tomorrow.
Frankly, I don't know what I'd do without them.
Oh, surely half a dozen prisoners working 3 days a week wouldn't affect your business that much.
Every little bit helps. And the factory's not doing too well at the moment.
Oh? Problems?
Oh, nothing serious. I'm just a born worrier, I suppose.
Or a typical businessman. Too much work, too little leisure. I believe that's the easiest way to get an ulcer.
Well, if you're worried about my ulcers, be a good Samaritan and join me for lunch. Then we can both relax.
I'd love to, but there's too much paperwork.
Oh, haven't you buried yourself in work long enough?
It's become something of a habit.
And like all bad habits, is something you should try to give up. Lunch would be a start.
Well, perhaps just this once the paperwork could wait.
12:30 at Borden's?
Fine.
Good.
I'll see you out.
I mustn't forget to sign the book. Well, thank you, Mrs. Davidson.
My pleasure.
Miss Bennett?
Mr. Reynolds?
I have given your report some thought, Miss Bennett, and I would advise you against sending it to the department.
Well, I'm well within my rights to send it, whether you approve or not.
Of course you are, but I'm sure you haven't considered how the incident reflects on you.
It doesn't reflect on me at all.
If you think about it, you will find that it does. The incident occurred whilst you were on duty. The department may think your supervision is rather lax if Burke could so easily get goods out of the factory. However, whether you send the report or not is entirely up to you. Have you tried Paul Reed's number again, Sally? I see. No answer. Well, would you keep trying? Thank you. Come in.
You want to see me?
Yes. Would you sit down, please, Meg? As you know, we haven't seen Paul Reed for a couple of days. When I returned to the office just now, I found this phone message from him. It says he's going to Adelaide with his son for some time and he wants extended leave.
Oh.
Well, you don't seem very surprised.
Well, I knew Tony wanted to buy into a garage business in Adelaide. I guess Paul's gone over to check the whole thing out.
This is the second incident concerning Paul Reed that you've withheld from me, Meg.
Well, I thought it was a personal matter.
Not when it concerns his work. He can't just take off whenever he feels like it. What happens to the women here?
Well, I guess he thinks that Tony's more important at the moment. He's his only child, and after his wife died, Tony's all he's got. Well, surely you can see that.
I can, but I don't think the department will. I've already arranged for Captain Barton to handle his work with Gail Summers.
Well, that was your idea.
I am aware of that. I have been trying to contact Paul to speak with him, but there's no answer, as you seem to know him better than the rest of us. If you see him, I would like you to tell him if he is not back here within the week, I shall have to ask the department for a replacement, and it may be a permanent one.
Good morning. A penny for them.
What? I'm sorry, Lloyd. I didn't see you. I was a million miles away.
Problems?
Well, no, not with me. It's Paul Reed. No one's seen him.
Oh, I was talking to him only yesterday.
Here?
No, at his flat. I dropped in to discuss the Gail Summers case.
Is he all right?
Well, as far as I know. In fact, he and his son seem quite excited about something. A job Tony's got in Adelaide, I think.
Paul must have changed his mind about the garage.
Yeah, it was something to do with cars.
Well, that's good news. Well, apparently, it's a partnership. And according to Tony, Paul wasn't very keen on the idea. I thought Tony might do something silly. It's bad enough trying to get a job these days, even if you haven't got a criminal record. But in Tony's case, it must be just about impossible.
So much for paying your debt to society, eh? Still, let's hope that Paul sorts everything out while he's in Adelaide.
Paul's in Adelaide?
As soon as he heard that Mrs. Davidson had asked me to look after the Gail Summers case, he booked his airline ticket.
But he will be back for the trial.
Oh, I don't know. Tony might know. He wasn't flying over with him. You don't think that Paul's not being there will affect the outcome of the case, do you?
Well, it might. Especially if it upsets Gail too much. I mean, she's really become dependent on him. And at the moment, she needs all the friends she can get.
Don't take it so hard, Blee. The factory was a real dump, honest.
Yeah, well, I would like to have seen it just once, just for myself. You know what I mean? And now I'm not going to get the chance, and all because of Burke.
Oh, well, don't be so sure. I mean, once the fuss has died...
No, Davidson said right from the start. One false move and the whole thing's off.
She's gone.
Now, what are you talking about?
Back. I was in the kitchen, you see, and there was this kid that had spent the night in the pound, and she reckons the screws come and got her. Burke, I mean.
Well, I bet you $1 to a brick that's the last we see of her.
Where do you reckon she went, Buck?
Barnhurst, for sure.
Yeah, I've seen it happen before. You remember that kid, B? Forget her name, I think it was Jackie. She really got up Bennett's nose.
Yeah, Vera shoved her in the pound for something. She just disappeared overnight.
Yeah. Real sad it was. Her old mum come to see her next day. And then the poor old duck had to leg it all the way up to Barnhurst.
Do people really just disappear like that?
Why? You think you're disappearing? What do you reckon, Lizzie? You reckon we can make her disappear?
Yeah, one way or another. They come for you in the night, you see. Tippy toes. Clank, clank, clank go the keys. Rat-tat-tat on the door. And they open the door and they take you away and you got no choice in the matter.
Mind you, if you don't hear the keys, it could be one of us come to get you.
Yeah, that's what happens to rotten mongrels who bash their kids.
Well, what's the matter with you lot?
Oh, just having a few minutes silence for our old friend Nolene.
Yeah, very funny, Smith. Now, come on, that was the lunch bell. Get moving. Anything the matter, Summers?
No, sir.
Honey, will you relax? Everything's going to be okay, I promise you.
It's just the waiting I can't stand.
Yeah, I know. I think maybe I better go out and case out that Chinese joint.
Judy, what if someone sees you?
I'll be careful.
God, that must be Peter.
You said he wasn't too bad.
Ta-da! How's my little lady? Did you miss me?
Pete, how come you're back so early? You weren't
My
due
little
till-
secret. I thought I'd sneak back and catch you with another man. Oh, hello. Who's this?
This is, Judy.
Judy Bradshaw, how are you?
Ah, how do you do?
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Judy's an old friend. She's been staying here for a few days.
Well, any friend of Paulie's is a friend of mine. How about a cuppa, eh, love? Well, Judy, I was going to take the little woman out to dinner tonight, so why don't you join us?
Oh, that's real kind of you, but I think I'll have to get back tonight.
Yes. Judy has to go up to Sydney.
Ah, a Sydney sider, eh? Which part do you live?
Bondi.
Ah, pretty spot, pretty spot. I lived at the Junction a few years ago.
You never told me that.
Ah, it was long before I met you, my love. Which street?
Elizabeth Street.
Don't know it myself. And what sort of work do you do?
Fair go, Pete. Is this the 3rd degree or something?
Oh, I got to learn about your friends, love.
I don't mind.
What did you say you did for a living?
I work at the Alfred Hospital. I'm a nurse.
Next, you'll be asking her the state of her bank account.
Speaking of banks, I'd better get on with it, you know. I've got to get my return tickets.
Don't let us hold you up.
Right.
Judy, please take care. Look after yourself.
Okay. It's nice to meet you, Peter, and I might see you later, you know?
Yeah, see you.
Bye.
Now, how come you're bringing strangers into my house, eh?
Judy's not a stranger. We've been friends for years.
You never mentioned it before.
What, do you mention all your friends?
What's wrong with you, love? You're really on edge. And come to think of it, so is your mate. What gives?
I think she's missing a boyfriend. You know.
Missing out, you mean?
Like me.
Well, that's easily fixed.
Well, that's all the court procedure you'll need to know for the trial. Have you any questions?
What about Mrs. Jackson?
She'll be appearing as a Crown witness.
That's against me, isn't it?
Right, but your barrister will cross-examine her about your husband and the way he treated you.
What about you?
I'll be appearing as your character witness. I'll tell them how you've become involved with Parents Anonymous and...
Do you think that'll help?
Gail, you've got every chance of getting off with a good behaviour bond. But you've got to think positive.
How can I? I mean, I can't stop thinking about what I did to Jason and what's happening to the kids.
Now that they're in the home, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. But, well, say I do get off at the trial. I mean, I still got to go for custody of them. Well, I know I've been a bad mother, but if I couldn't see the kids, I don't know what I'd do.
Look, you've got 6 months to prove that you're capable of looking after them properly. Just concentrate on that. And remember that you won't be alone. Before you had only Tim, and he wasn't much use to you. Now, this time, there's a whole range of people who are willing to help, if you let them.
It's funny, really. I mean, before I had no one to talk to. Now I've got you and Mr. Reed and Mrs. Jackson and that lady from Parents Anonymous.
Right.
You've been real good to me. Thanks.
Oh, lay off it, will you be? You're going to knock the press into the middle of next week.
Oh, who cares? At least that way we wouldn't have to slug our guts out in here for a change.
You're bored enough as it is without having nothing to do. At least this way we can keep each other company.
Oh, what way?
You lot, not having to go to the factory.
Oh, shut up, Lizzie.
Shut up.
Rack off, that's my pile.
Sorry.
Well, well, it isn't God's gift to little kiddies.
Yeah, Jack the Ripper's back.
You got to be sick in the head.
Stop it.
Stop it, stop it. You're the lowest of the low. You know that, Summers?
Yeah, well, at least I never killed no one.
Wasn't for the want of trying, though, was it?
What sort of person would try and kill her own kids?
Someone like you.
Oh, yeah, you'd know, would you? I mean, you know everything there is to know about kids, do you, Bee?
We've all had kids. None of us treated ours the way you treated yours.
Yeah, well, maybe you didn't. Maybe you handled it better than I did. I don't know. All I know is, well, I never wanted to hurt him, never.
Well, why'd you do it then?
Because... Have you ever been stuck in a flat 24 hours a day with no one to talk to, just the kids? Kids that get sick and cry and whinge and scream and make messes and leave their toys lying around all over the place. And then your husband comes home and he can't understand why you want to get out of the place. All he does is just sit there getting stuck into the booze and screaming for something to eat and screaming at the kids because he can't stand the noise. That's when I started to hit Jason. So Tim could get a little bit of peace and quiet. Nothing else would shut him up. But he got worse. I couldn't help myself. I hit him harder. And he'd scream. I couldn't cope. Now, maybe you could have, but I couldn't. Maybe I am an animal, like you say. But do you think I like what I did? Knowing I almost killed my own kid? He's so little. And I love him. I don't like what I did any more than you do.
Pauline?
Oh, God, you startled me.
Peter about?
He's having a sleep. Oh, had to go.
It's great. Should be a pushover.
So you'll be going then?
Uh-huh. And then I'll be out of your life for good.
Judy, I don't want you out of...
Of course you do. You've been as jumpy as a cat ever since I got here.
Yes, I have. And do you know why?
Yeah. Because you're harboring a fugitive.
Yes, it's not just that. I care about you, Judy. I always have. You'll be running for the rest of your life, always looking over your shoulder, wondering if you've been recognized. And you'll have to live with that forever.
Well, what else am I gonna do?
Give yourself up.
Are you out of your mind? You know, I could get 5 years just for doing that cop over. I mean, if I got back in there, I'd have nothing to look forward to.
Well, you'll have nothing to look forward to on the run either.
I'll be okay.
Oh, Jude. You used to listen to me once. Remember?
Not this time, Paulina. I'm going to get ready now. I do want to thank you for everything. You've been a really good friend.
Maybe she's not as bad as we thought. Well, I don't reckon she ought to get away with it. But maybe she had a real good reason for doing what she did.
Yeah, that bastard of a husband of hers didn't exactly make it easier for her.
You reckon it was the old man's fault?
Oh, isn't it always? Men.
You'll never guess what.
Bennett's got the sack.
Nope.
Oh. Well, come on.
I heard Mrs. Jackson telling Vera all about it.
About what?
Randy Reed's gone to Adelaide.
For how long?
Dunno. Probably got sick of us.
Ah, who cares anyway? Bloody social workers, they're all the same.
Oh, and what would you know?
What's the matter with her?
Maybe she's got the hots for him.
Oh, well, I don't blame her.
Smith.
That's my name.
Don't get smart. The governor wants to see you.
Well, I wonder what that's about. I've been keeping my nose clean.
Maybe Davo's going to offer you Reed's job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Gail, everything okay?
Yeah.
Well, perhaps you might feel better to talk about it.
Now, it's funny, but today I did something I've never done before. I stood up for myself.
Yes?
Mr. Reed talked to me and made me see that everything would be all right just so long as I looked at it the right way.
Well, that's a good start.
Yeah, good start. What am I going to do now he's gone?
You can't count on him for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but he said he'd be at my trial.
I know. But Captain Barton and I'll be there.
What about after that? I mean, he said any time I needed help, somebody would be there.
Well, there will be.
Oh, who?
There'll be me, for a start. Now, I know I'm responsible for putting you here in the first place, and I'd quite understand if you didn't want to know me.
Oh, no, you did the right thing, I reckon. I mean, if you hadn't called the police, then maybe I'd have hit Jason so hard.
You try not to think about it, Gail. That's all behind you now. And in a couple of days, you'll be starting a new life.
You're a real friend. Thanks.
Smith to see you, Mrs. Davidson.
Thank you. I don't suppose it's any secret that Burke has been transferred to Barnhurst.
Oh, word gets round.
Yes, I thought so. Well, as a result of Burke's behavior, the work release was very nearly abandoned. However, it will continue under close scrutiny.
Yeah, well, no point ditching a good thing just because of one rat bag like Burke.
No, but one more rat bag and it will be abandoned.
Ah, so I suppose you want me to wise up the other women.
I'm quite capable of communicating with the inmates myself. Burke's departure has created a vacancy in the factory scheme, so I have decided to give you another chance and send you in her place.
Well, I'll be...
Smith.
Sorry, just slipped out.
But I give you fair warning. If there is any attempt by you or anyone else to undermine this scheme, it will be abandoned completely. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Davidson, you can count on me.
I hope so. You will start work tomorrow morning with the other women. Thank you, Miss Phillip.
Thanks, Mrs. Davidson.
Hello?
Oh, hi, Mrs. Jackson. Come in. I thought you were the removalists.
Removalists? Are you moving?
Yeah, Dad's already in Adelaide. He's spoken to the guy who owns the garage, and he reckons that, well, there's enough money in it for 3 of us, if it's run properly. So Dad's going to run the business, and we're going to look after the mechanics.
Is Paul giving up his job at the prison?
Well, yeah, it's only temporary, though, just until we get the place on its feet.
Look, Tony, I spoke to Mrs. Davidson earlier. She said if Paul didn't return to work by the end of the week, he may lose his job permanently.
Yeah, Dad said she might take it like that. Apparently she's been getting pretty uptight with him lately.
Well, you can understand her point of view.
Well, yeah, but... Well, Dad's more used to working with kids than he is with prisoners anyway. We said that if Mrs. Davidson didn't take him back, that Well, you could always start a youth group in your spare time.
Does he mean that, or is he just saying it?
Look, Mrs. Jackson, I know that it looks like I'm being pretty selfish and that Dad's giving up everything for me, but...
It's his decision.
Well, yes, it is. Look, I realise what a great guy he's being about all this, and not many parents would do the same thing for their sons, but...
I know.
Well, it's not as if he's giving up everything and going away forever. He might be back. It depends on Mrs. Davidson. He's not giving up his social work forever either. It's just such a great opportunity for us to do something together. I'm not going to let him down again.
I'm sure you won't. I'm just sorry I missed the chance to say goodbye to him.
Yeah, he'll be upset about that too. It's just that we had to move so fast. They were going to repossess the garage.
Understand.
You know, once upon a time I'd hoped Dad was going to marry you.
I don't think that was your decision.
No. Still, sometimes I wish he had. I'm going to miss you.
I wonder where Bea is. It's nearly tea time.
Maybe she got disappeared like Burke.
Oh, they wouldn't dare. We'd go on strike. We'd tear the joint down. We'd...
Settle down, Wordsworth. Muster in 5 minutes.
Well?
Heard the news?
What news?
Guess where I'm going?
They're not going to parole you.
Getting warm.
They're not going to let you out to see Ken.
Warmer, but it's a different bloke. Well, have you ever heard of Andrew Reynolds?
The bloke from the factory?
That's right. The factory project's back on again, kiddies.
Ah, you're having a song.
I got it right from the horse's mouth, and I'm on the list.
Well, bugger me gently.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm real pleased for you, Bea.
I'm real pleased for you too, Doreen. That bastard Vince Talbot is going to wonder what hit him.
Please. I want to report the whereabouts of Judy Bryant. Never mind who's speaking. Just a friend.
Nice day, Sergeant.
Don't you Sergeant me, Suling.
My mistake.
And how's business?
Very bad, missy. Very bad.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Could get worse, you know. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? Thanks.
It's all there.
It's only $400 here, isn't there?
Same price like last time.
No. It's gone up, you see. It's $500 now. $500 that we bust this place wide open. You understand what I'm saying to you, boy? Thanks. See you next time.
You betcha, missy.
Judy Bryant? Oh.
I suggest you come quietly, Bryant.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside, and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But the sun and rain are prisoners too when morning comes around. Last night I dreamed we were together, sharing all the love we'd known, till I had to face the nightmare of waking up alone. On the inside, the roses grow. They don't mind the stony ground, but the roses here are prisoners too when morning comes around.